Good morning, children. Today we are going to study the second poem, which is in the first chapter. The name of the poem is Dust of Snow. The way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree. This is the first stanza. I'll repeat it. The way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree. The poet is sitting under a tree. He is feeling sad. Perhaps something must have happened with him. So he thinks that I am not happy today. And while he was sitting under a tree, suddenly a crow came over. And this crow just ruffled its feathers and shook the plant under which it was sitting. And a few snowdrops fell on the poet. It is a hemlock tree. Hemlock is a poisonous plant. In olden days, when people were given that sentence, there were options. Either you be hanged to death, or you be electrocuted in a chair where an electric current will pass through and you will die. Or there was another option of drinking poison. And that poison was of this hemlock tree. So those droplets of snowflakes which fell on the poet, suddenly something happened to him. That day he was feeling very sad, very desperate. Basically, as we said, I am not in mood, please don't call me, don't disturb me, something like that. He was feeling unhappy. But because of the crow coming and sitting on that tree and those snowflakes falling on him, the second stanza has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I rued. Suddenly, because of that snowflakes falling on him, there was a change of heart for him. Suddenly, that sad day of the poet became happy. Now you just think it was just a simple ordinary moment in which a crow comes and sits on a tree and some snowflakes fall on the poet who was feeling sad that day. And suddenly his sadness changed to happiness. So you never know, dear children, when will be that moment when you will be happy. These small things make people happy. And our poet also became happy. It was just an ordinary event, but because he was feeling sad, depressed, that is why that snowflakes which fell on him made him feel very happy. Normally, if we say in poetry, poets don't use crow. Why? Because crow is a symbol of bad omen. Poet will say it will be either a beautiful lark or a koyal or a mena. These are the birds which normally poets use in nature poems. But crow is a symbol of bad omen. Even then, though it may be ironic, the poet has used crow over here for his happiness, which normally doesn't happen. So it may be that people think that black color is a sign of sorrow, sadness, but it is not so, dear children. When you go to study to school, there is a blackboard in the class, right? And this blackboard makes your life, whatever you become in your life later on. So it basically is a precursor for what you will become in future. So you don't consider black or dark colors as a symbol of sadness. It is not so. It depends from person to person. That same blackboard is your future. Whatever you write on it will become your future. Thank you, students. This was the poem Dust of Snow. Okay, students, now we will discuss the question answers of dust of snow. The first question is, what is a dust of snow? What does the poet say has changed his mood? How has the poet's mood changed? The answer to this question:
The dust of snow means the fine particles of snow. The snowflakes which fall when there is snowfall, those are the dust of snow. The falling of snow on the poet changed his mood. And that soft touch, that cold touch on the poet of snow changed his mood from sad to happy. He felt refreshed, revived. Why? Because he was feeling that his whole day has spoiled. But because of that small incident, it changed his mood and he became happy. That is the beauty of nature. He feels now revived due to the beauty of nature. The second question: how does Frost represent nature in his poem? The following questions may help you think of an answer. Now, there are three separate questions. What are the birds that are usually named in poems? Do you think a crow is often mentioned? What image comes to your mind when you think of a crow? Okay, this is the first question in the second question. First, we will discuss the answer of the first question. Frost has represented nature in a very different manner in this poem. Normally, when there are nature poems, trees, birds, which are normally known for their beauty, those things are mentioned by poets in their poems to make the poem look beautiful. So normally, if say by chance any birds are to be used, then they will use those beautiful birds like peacock, a parrot, a cuckoo, a lark, something like that. And trees, what kind of trees they will use? Those which are full of fruits, full of flowers. Normally those things are used by poet most of the time in their poems. But here Robert Frost has taken a totally different line. He hasn't used this beauty of nature type of things which are used in nature poems. What he has chosen? Crow. Crow is a black bird and has that shrill sound which we don't like. And crow is normally a symbol of something bad which may happen to us. It is a symbol of bad omen. This is what he has used. So basically it is a contrast to nature poems which normally poets don't do, and Robert Frost has experimented with this contrast in our poem by using a bird which normally is not used by poets. Now the second question, again, what is a hemlock tree? Why doesn't the poet write about a more beautiful tree such as a maple or an oak or a pine? Hemlock tree is a poisonous plant and it has white flowers. Now Frost did not choose maple, oak or pine tree. Instead, he chose the hemlock tree. Now hemlock is associated with poison. Why? Because the leaves of hemlock tree are crushed to make poison, as I had explained to you in the poem previously, that in olden days there was this death sentence of drinking poison, and it was normally taken from a hemlock tree. So hemlock is associated with poison. So it is basically not something which a poet will use in his poem. Here examples are given: maple tree, beautiful plants it has. If you remember the movie Mohabbatein, in which those leaves fall, maple is also in the national flag of Canada. You can see that maple leaf. It is a tree which is found in abundance in Canada. Beautiful leaves they are. So such type of tree, or a pine tree, the tall beautiful looking trees, show trees they are. Normally this is what are used, but our poet uses a tree which is associated with poison. So he takes a different view about nature. Most of the time the beautiful snow is there in the poem. That denotes the beauty of nature. But then the poisonous hemlock tree's branch is shaken off by a crow, it means that it has left all the beautiful colors present in the world and only has chosen two colors, black of the crow and white of the snow. So the poet has shown us just one picture of nature which is black and white. One part is snow, which is white. One part is crow, which is black. So he doesn't show us the colors of nature. He has painted nature in black and white. Basically, this black and white are his moods and feeling. Black is the crow, which is his sad mood. And when the snowflakes fall on him from the hemlock tree, he feels happy. Those are those white snowflakes. So basically, this is how he has used words to show out his moods in the poem by using snow and crow. Now the third question, what do the crow and hemlock represent, joy or sorrow? What does the dust of snow that the crow shakes off a hemlock tree stand for? Well, the crow, the hemlock, they are basically over here symbols of sadness, depression, sorrow felt by the poet in today's world. And on the other hand, that dust of snow, he felt very happy. It was just an ordinary thing. Some snowflakes fell on him because a crow shook the leaves of that tree on which it was sitting. In spite of it being such a normal thing, an ordinary thing, the poet felt very happy. So you never know what things will change your moods. So that dust of snow is a symbol of natural joy which the poet got, whereas the crow and the hemlock tree are sadness, his mood. It means that passing from depressing moments and entering into a time which is full of happiness. This is what the snow depicts and the crow and the hemlock depict. Crow and hemlock are symbols of sadness, and that snow depicts the joy into which the poet has entered from sadness. This is what this poem is, symbolic with those words. Now the third question is basically you need to answer it. It has got nothing to do with the poem. It is your answer, what you write. Normally such types of questions are very rarely asked in exams. So our first poem, Dust of Snow, is over here.